Has a stranger ever changed your life with one single action? When I was 16, I was basically invisible. Not in a cool way either. I just existed. Went to school, sat in the back, failed tests, went home. My teachers probably forgot my name halfway through attendance. English class was the worst. We'd be reading something out loud and I'd just pray Mrs. Palmer wouldn't call on me. When she did, the letters would jump around on the page like they were mocking me. I'd stumble through sentences. Kids would snicker. And she'd eventually just move on to someone else with this disappointed sigh. My report card that semester was basically a disaster. 3 F's, 2 D's. My parents saw it and lost it. Dad yelled about how I was throwing my life away. Mom cried and asked what she did wrong. I just sat there because what could I say? That I actually tried? That I spent hours staring at the same page and still couldn't tell you what it said? They wouldn't believe me anyway, so I stopped going. Not all at once. First, it was just English class. Then history because there was too much reading. Then pretty much everything. I'd leave the house with my backpack, walk toward school, then just keep walking past it. I'd spend hours at the park or the mall, just killing time until I could go home and pretend I had a normal day. One Tuesday, I was downtown hiding out when I saw these 2 security guards who looked like truancy officers. I panicked and ducked into this tiny used bookstore I'd never noticed before, the kind that smells like old paper and dust. Inside, it was quiet. Rows of books everywhere, stacked on shelves and in piles on the floor. An older guy with gray hair was behind the counter, reading. He glanced up at me, then went back to his book. I grabbed something random off a shelf and sat in the corner, pretending to read it. Figured I'd wait 20 minutes, then leave. The book was some thick fantasy novel with tiny print. I stared at the same page for probably 10 minutes. The words might as well have been in another language. "Not into that one?" the guy called from the counter. I shrugged. "It's fine." He got up and walked over, which made me nervous. I thought he was gonna kick me out. Instead, he pulled a thin book off a nearby shelf. "Try this." It was a graphic novel, pictures and dialogue bubbles. I felt embarrassed, like he thought I was a little kid, but I took it anyway. He sat down across from me and opened to the first page. Then he just started reading it out loud, not in a teacher voice, just normal. After a page, he stopped. "Your turn." I read a few speech bubbles. It was easier with the pictures. I didn't stumble as much. "See? Not so bad," he said, then went back to the counter. I stayed for another hour, actually reading that whole book. When I left, he just nodded at me. The next day I came back. He was there again. He handed me another graphic novel without saying anything. Same routine. He'd read some, I'd read some. By the 4th day, I just showed up after school hours like it was normal. He never asked why I wasn't in class, never asked my name, just kept handing me books. A week in, I was reading a page out loud and messed up the same word 3 times. I got frustrated and shoved the book away. "I'm just stupid." He looked at me for a long moment. "You're not stupid. You're just reading in a different way." He paused. "Ever been tested for dyslexia?" I had no idea what that was. "What?" "It's a learning thing. Makes reading hard, but not because you're dumb. Your brain just processes letters differently." He grabbed a piece of paper and wrote down a website. "Look into it. Get tested." I went home that night and actually looked it up. Everything I read described me exactly. The letter switching, the reading slowness, the anxiety around reading out loud. It wasn't that I was lazy or stupid. My brain was literally wired different. I told my parents. Mom cried again, but different this time. Dad drove me to get tested that week. 2 weeks later, I had an official diagnosis and a meeting with the school counselor. They moved me to classes with support, gave me extra time on tests, let me use audiobooks for some assignments. Teachers actually started helping me instead of writing me off. I passed that year. Barely, but I passed.